after nearly a year of Simmons feuding with the whole city of Philadelphia, we'll finally get to see him return to the city. So the first question of the night, what is the headline for tonight? Is it Harden against his former team, or is it Simmons facing the city of Philadelphia for the first time in nearly a year?
I mean, it's got to be, being coming back to Philly, because I think his was from the summer all the way up until right now. Even though he's not playing, and that kind of leans more on James, but I think as far as Harden versus the Brooklyn Nets, that'll be more about the game itself and how the game turns out. But I think, with Ben, it's more than basketball. It's, it's the trade request, it's the not playing, the city being disappointed, him being disappointed with the team. So I think, all of those emotions comes into play, and you got all of people excited and people ready to taunt and boo, and he's not even playing. So that tells you that how big it is right now.
That's great. I mean, Eric, have you ever seen, and Marcus too, but have you ever seen people lining up to almost watch someone who's not even playing? It's almost like the main attraction is someone who's sitting on the bench the entire time, and that seems crazy to me. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's in one hand, it shouldn't have really came down to this. It's unfortunate, but he's moved on. I think that now you have people that were disappointed with the way things were going while he was still here. Now they get to relent. So I think it's the more times that he comes, he come to Philly, I think the less he'll hear the boos. I think eventually it'll go away, but I don't think it'll ever go away where it's totally gone. But it will gradually decrease. But folks have been there's people out there that's been waiting for this day, and I think it'll be two elements. It'll be an element for him coming back, and it'll be an element when the first time he actually plays in Philly.
Yeah, man, they're waiting to unleash. It's crazy to see that, because it's like, I wish the storylines were about just the game itself, but it's just crazy to see someone that is not even playing take over. And I totally agree with you. I think that it will get better with the time. I think that's probably why him and his people are like, you need to go there and just sit. Because
I agree. I agree that even when they knew he wasn't playing, I mean, people had this game marked. Like, that's the first thing when the trade went down, that was the first thing they looked at is, when does he come to Philly? And you got to think that they like, man, go and kind of get some of that out the way. Even though you're not playing, they still going to be on it. But by the time you play, you would have kind of felt some of it and kind of moved on. And then two, you get some people like, man, I'm not going to sit up here and I'm going to go support the Sixers. I'm going to lay off him. And then I think it'll be more situational. If he doesn't play or he doesn't play well, pretty much that's how it's going to be. But if he goes and he performs, then, people are not going to keep going if he's kicking our tail.
That's true. It'll become more about rooting the Sixers to beat the Nets, whereas right now I think it's just about beating down Ben as much as possible. And it's crazy because, I think he's just trying to kind of almost like a rehab process, right? Like, first you have to sit there and take it. Although, I mean, you obviously can tell better than me and Marcus. I mean, if you're sitting on the bench the whole time, you don't have the luxury of getting you don't have the luxury of getting in the game and kind of getting that out of your head and just concentrating on your play. You're sitting there getting roasted for like 3+ hours, right?
I mean, it really depends on kind of who you are and who you as a person and whether you engage in it. Because to a certain extent, like, they can say whatever they want to say, but they're not going to do anything. Security aren't going to let them do anything. So people aren't going to. Most of the people that are going to taunt aren't going to physically do anything to them. That's not where it's going. So you just, it's coming. It's just certain things that you probably don't want to hear that could trigger you. Most guys in the league are used to hearing certain things, but some things will trigger you, and some things may need to be addressed. So hopefully it doesn't come to that point, but it's going to be constant. Even if, and I don't, even big lead or not, close game, it's going to be constant. So he's going to hear it. and he's prepping for it. I think he's prepared for it. And like you said, I firmly believe that's why he came, to kind of smoothen some of that blow for the next time he actually comes. Because we can easily see them in the first, we can easily see them in the playoffs. Yeah. In the first round. Yeah.
And that's 4 games at Philly that he's have to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy that even I saw that quote from Niang saying, I think it's true. They saying he's Simmons is top of his shit talking list, and that's someone that wasn't even they didn't even play. They only saw each other in that practice with the cell phone in his pocket thing. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
the whole city feels it.
Some of it it's the city, but I think some of you have some players, especially the players that wasn't necessarily there the whole time. They never really had a chance to build a bond or a friendship or a connection. So to them, he's just the guy that just never showed up. Or when he was there, he wasn't engaged. So it was no previous relationship. So that's all he knows.
Yeah,
whereas
that's
guys
true.
Who've been with him before, they have a relationship. They kind of can hear him out and understand where he's coming from. They just know that professionally they got a job to do. So I think it's different if based on who you speak to on the team and on the roster.
Yeah. And today we saw that Danny Green had on someone's podcast. He essentially said that Simmons changed all of his numbers without telling. He changed his phone numbers and didn't tell any of the players on the team, and they didn't talk to him for the first time until he came back to the facility for that practice where he had the phone in his pocket. And so, I mean, it's just a weird vibe between the guys. Do you think there will be handshaking tonight with Simmons and the players on the team?
I don't think from a standpoint, most guys when they have disagreements with the team, for the most part, guys can figure it all out and kind of let that be separate. It really depends on the relationships with that he has with the individual players, because was his relationship just strained with the team, or was it strained with teammates also? That's what we don't know. It's so many things we feel like we do know and we've heard, but it's a lot of unknowns. What is the relationship player by player that he had with, Danny Green and, and Tobias and all these other guys that were there with him the last few years. So what is his relationship with those guys, and how often did he speak to them? Did he cut them off? Did he stop speaking to them? Would he not respond, or vice versa? That can change a relationship if those things happen. So, but we really don't know. But I think for the most part, I Bleav if he's willing to engage with those guys, I don't see them refusing to do so.
Yeah,
it's just whether he's going to be willing to engage, meaning come out on the court and see players, or go down the hallway. And it's different, man. If you're gonna go down the hallway and you're gonna see people, is he gonna just show up, sit down, and get out? Like, you don't know. So it really depends on what he's willing to do once he hits the arena.
Yeah. Once he's in there, man, he's locked in, though. That's for sure, man.
And there was one thing that at the last press conference after our game, one of the reporters asked Doc if there was going to be a tribute video. Do you think there will be a tribute video tonight, or what do you think about that?
I mean, I think Ben's done enough, in the future to have a tribute video. But I mean, I just don't understand where all these, like, what do you have to do to get a tribute video? Like, what is it? You an all-star? Like, I'm just trying to figure out who decides who gets a tribute video.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, is it like you play 10 years? Like, what is it? Like, I'm just confused on what's
parameters.
What's the criteria for getting a tribute video? Like, everybody to get traded? Like, we gonna give Steph Curry one? I mean, like, so what's the difference? Because Ben was an all-star? Yeah. I mean,
leaving on good terms should be one of the criteria.
Ben Simmons is still going to play the majority of his career away from Philly.
Yeah.
He'll play 10 plus years out of Philly, which means the majority of his career is not going to be played in Philly. Mm-hmm. So we give guys videos for playing 4 or 5 years in Philly.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fake too, because it's not going to be a genuine. But
I just don't. I mean,
you, Simmons.
I think being from what he's accomplished, it should be sort of like, welcome back. But where it's at right now, I just think that draws attention to it because I don't think it'll be well received, which makes it work. I just think the more attention you draw to it, I think like they put a video up, they will boo worse than they were booing for the whole night. Now, is that right? Maybe not. But you have a guy that had a disagreement with the team, decided to stay away, then you give him a tribute video? Like, I just think it's just stay away from it. He moved on, you move on. Leave it at that. Maybe down the road, maybe that's something you can do, but not right now.
Yeah, because bygones are not bygones right now.
Yeah, not right now. You know,
it seems like they're trolling him if they do one. I said online that if they do one, they have to have like the record screeching and a bunch of missed free throws. But that was just a troll version.
That's what I'm saying. I don't believe in the team making fun of them either.
No, exactly.
If I don't believe in the team making fun of them, there's no need to come on. We appreciate what he's done. I mean, we understood what he did in Philly, but let's just move on. He's there. Maybe somewhere down the road when things are a little more calm and bygones are bygones, then maybe we can do something. That's how I see it.
That's why I a million reasons why I love the trade. But it's such a difference between Harden and Simmons is that I have no hesitation about Harden wanting to go in there and roast his old team and let it rip. Like I think he's just going to go in there and game. Whereas Simmons, he's scared to face his old team, and he's only come in because of a grievance he's about to file with the team. It's just such a difference between those two as far as just the mentality of being a dog on the court and just not being almost the exact opposite of what that is with Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting that, but I don't know everything that's going on with Ben. I don't know if because with the mental health, he's out. I don't know if he's physically not capable. But I can, from a player standpoint, if I was asking for a trade, but I wanted to play, I just didn't want to play on the team that I was on. I would have in my mind that the trade deadline, and then we have the All-Star break, that would be my time to get ready to play. I would figure during that time that, hey, it's time to go.
That's what Harden did.
Yeah, so that would kind of be your target date. So for that not to happen, then you have to figure out or try to guess, like, why? Is he just avoiding this game? Is he truly injured? Is he truly not there mentally? Like we don't know. Like, I'm not trying to assume. I'm just saying it surprised me that he hasn't played because I don't know the ins and outs of what's truly going on with him and his camp.
And I was watching First Take the other day, and Stephen A. Smith and Tim Legler both said that I wouldn't be surprised at midnight on March 11th if you see Ben Simmons is ready to go and he'll be able to play on over the weekend with the Nets. Probable
for his next game.
Yeah. Second afterwards. Most people kind of, looked and probably figured because if you know Philadelphia, they waiting for you. So the fans are waiting for you from the minute you step into the city. That's the difference with Philadelphia and some other places. Some other places it starts inside the arena. In Philadelphia, it starts when you hit the city.
There was a video that just came out a couple hours ago of fans waiting outside the hotel and kind of
without a doubt, like that. It would surprise me if that wasn't happening.
And with Simmons too, it's like players. I mean, you're a player. That's we're talking about just the fans. When he gets on the court, you smell blood, you smell weakness. Like he seems weak right now. Are players just going to attack that and just go right at him on the court now?
You know what? I firmly believe that from a Sixers standpoint, they just going to try to win the game. I think what you're speaking about is really
when he plays. When he plays.
Yeah, when he plays, I think that's really going to be more other teams. That's how other teams are kind of going to approach him. I think from our standpoint, if we get a situation where he, you want to foul him, you know what I'm saying? Like, get him and put him on the line and talk a little trash. But I think more than anything, we just want to beat him.
Yeah.
So that's really going to be the big part. But I think as time goes on, you'll have more and more teams that's going to test him. So he's going to get tested. He's going to get fouled. A team's going to see where he's at because of how things were left as far as him playing in his last game.
It's so fascinating because it's not like you said to begin with. It's not just a basketball situation. I don't know what's in his head, but it sounds like from all the leaking and the reports, everything's so public nowadays with social media. It just sounds like there's so much more than just basketball decisions being made. Like he's making a decision to be there because of an ongoing case he has against Philly. So there's much more than just, okay, I need to get on the court. I need to start winning. I need to start playing basketball. There's so much as far as posturing for a position for getting that $20 million back, where there's just so many decisions being made that just isn't about,
Being that you say that, is this case helped or hurt by him not playing?
I think when he first got traded, Marcus and I spoke about it, and I said first thing, I go, when we play them next, he's not going to play in that game. One, because he doesn't want to come back to Philly. Two, because when you throw down that mental health card, you can't just turn it off the second you leave. Like, all right, ready to play now. That was a mental health only against Philadelphia. I'm good now. So like he kind of has to follow through with it. You have to say, okay, I'm still not ready. I'm still going through some stuff to make it believable, right? And I'm not saying he's lying. I can't say that because I'm not in his head. But if you are trying to get $20 million back and you're citing real mental health problems, then you can't really come back that soon, right? But he does say he's fine now. He said what I heard recently was that he hurt his back while ramping up his basketball activities. So, I mean, now it's not mental, now it's bad.
Mental health can be change of environment. That could be something that's part of his rehab that helps him. I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't truly know the reason for him being out has not been declared by the Nets. They haven't said Ben Simmons is out because of this. That eliminates us trying to assume or guess.
Yep, and speculate. Yeah, exactly. Man.
Yeah, somebody tells me this Ben Simmons saga will continue throughout the next few months, and especially we play them in the playoffs. That's only going to be a longer another chapter to the story.